Hey everyone, my name is Marshall Mosier and thank you so much for renting my Vandoit. I used to live in this full time, now I have another van that I live in full time and I rent this here in Salt Lake City, which is where my home base is. And since you rented this, I want to make sure that you have all of your questions answered, even if I might not be available to help with something. So I made this video to show how everything in this van works, which is pretty simple, but there are a few minor details that are important to learn from this video to make sure you have a great time out on the road. So to start, I want to show you the power system. So this van has a massive 3-battery power system that powers both AC and DC power that you can plug in with any of the plugs. Like for instance, I have a plug here for the air fryer. You can also plug in other things. There is a plug right here. You can plug in things there. I'll go over those things in a little bit. But all of these things that are plugged in only work if this button is on. This is the power inverter. You press this button right there. It says go power initializing. We'll have a green light show up right here. And then it will show you the voltage. So there's not a percentage of how much battery is left. It's a volt because it's not lithium. It's a lead acid battery. So about 11 is the lowest this will go. If this is showing anywhere close to 11, then the battery is pretty dead. And then 13.5 to 14 is full. So everything in between is somewhere in between. There are solar panels on the roof, which are charging the power system at, let's see, there's 240 volt panels on the top. And then by driving the vehicle, you're also charging the battery system. And I also have a generator on the back that I'll show you in a little bit on how to make sure that you have enough power for everything that you need. There's a few things that require the generator or the vehicle running, both of which are powering the batteries, or the van being plugged into an external power system to use. There's only two things that require, actually 3 things that require this. The first thing is this air fryer. So I cook almost everything in this air fryer. It's already plugged in. You press the power button to turn it on and then set it to whatever settings you want. This uses almost 2,000 watts of power. So if you are running this, you have to have either the vehicle running, which is charging the battery, or the generator, which is charging the battery, or have the van plugged into shore power. I'll show you how the shore power works shortly. That's if you're at a campground or an RV park and it has a power source, you can plug it in and you don't have to worry about your battery system. But that's one of the things that requires it. The other thing that requires it is this AC system. This uses so much power and you have to have the generator running or being plugged into shore power for it to work. Even running the vehicle, the alternator of the vehicle is not enough. This takes the most power of anything in this van. And the way this works is this control system right there. You just press the power button once and then twice, and then it's going to be set to that temperature. You can change it. I'm going to turn it off before it turns on, otherwise it will kill the battery, but that is how you run the AC. Since I'm talking about AC, I'll show you the heat as well. So if you want to run the heater, then you press this once to turn it on and then twice to actually activate it. This green light will turn on. You can set the temperature by going up or down, and then that uses the gas of the vehicle to heat the van. I'm gonna press it one more time to turn it off so that it's not heating. But that requires at least 25% of the gas in the vehicle. So it uses the actual gas from the vehicle to run this heater, and it comes out under that seat right there. So make sure that there's nothing stored under this seat. This is my electric unicycle, my way of getting around, which won't be in here at the moment, but just make sure nothing is stored under that seat. And then the heat will come out, but you have to have at least 25% gas in the tank. And the reason for that is that the heater uses about a gallon every 8 hours. So if you're low on gas and it didn't have the 25% limitation and you're running that all day, then you could strand yourself somewhere by just using up all your gas for the heater. So you can't do that, but you have to have 25% gas left. One of the other features of the van is a full water system. So we have a sink right here. You raise this sink, flip this up, and turn this on for water. But the water will only work if this button is turned on. So all of these are switches controlling different things in the van. You press any of them to activate it. Now the lights are on, and then you press whatever one you want to select that one. Now the water pump is on. If this button is not blue, the water will not work. So make sure that this is turned on, and then you'll be able to open this switch and run the water. But remember, you are in a van, there's a limited amount of water. I'll show you that shortly, but just be conservative with your water. One other thing with this sink is that this water drains into a gray water tank, which is in here. This tank. This tank can be removed by just lifting this up and pulling it out, and then you just dump that out wherever you're allowed to dump it out. Usually it's just water. It's what's called gray water, so you can usually dump it on grass or in gravel, but do not overflow that tank because that's really, really bad. So after you've used the sink for a while, just open this door and check how full that is. If it's getting full, I like to dump it out at half full just to make sure I don't overflow it, because if you overflow it, then there's water everywhere and it's a bad day. So that's how that works. And then this is folded down. By the way, this rotates up. Don't do it, because if you close this, then it sprays water everywhere, just like that. So don't do that. Keep this down, lower that down, and you'll have a good time.
Yeah.
So another cool thing about this van is that the passenger seat swivels. I like to keep it in this orientation if I'm just lounging around, because I can sit like this, get some work done, and kind of have a bit of a lounge chair. But you can also spin it this way and face the main cabin if people are sitting in these chairs over here and you want to socialize with everyone. But of course, in order to spin this when it's facing the forward drivable orientation, what you have to do is raise this lever. Of course, it spins without raising the lever when it's turned around, but when it's forward, it locks in place, and this lever is the only way to get it to spin. So make sure you raise that lever when spinning it. Oh, and then this thing goes forward and back. You may have to adjust that when spinning it because it won't spin all the way like that. So you have to kind of move it forward and back. And now it's back in the forward orientation. Another thing about this van is you have a cellular-based Wi-Fi network with a signal booster. The signal booster means that there's an antenna on the roof that's capturing the cell signal and amplifying it by 1 to 30 times. And that signal is amplified by coming out of this receiver. So if you don't have very good cell signal, if you put your phone within 3 feet of this black thing, ideally under it like that, your cell signal will go up, which is pretty cool. This white thing is the Wi-Fi. It's cellular-based Wi-Fi, which is why I have it positioned right under the signal booster. So the signal booster amplifies the signal of the cellular-based Wi-Fi, and I'll have the Wi-Fi password for you in the details that we give you for the van. And it's unlimited. You can use as much Wi-Fi as you want. And if you want to turn these off, all you have to do is unplug these two plugs. All of this stuff up here is the electronics for the signal booster and the Wi-Fi. And all you have to do to turn them off is unplug these two. Or if you want to turn off all the power in the van, like before, you press that button. So if you're gonna leave the van for, I don't know, a period of time and you're not using any of the power and you want to save power, the most efficient way to just make sure the battery is not being drained is to just press that button. It turns everything off. When you come back, you can press it, turns everything back on. Super easy. So you have two control bars in the van. You have one here, and actually one more in the back of the van. These control bars control mostly the lighting, but a few other things. I'll show you how to use these here. In order to turn them on, you press any of them to activate everything. The blue means they're turned off. The white means the blue means they're turned on. The white means they're turned off. Right now, the dome light, these lights right here, is on. If you press it once, you have a light blue, which means it's dim, and then one more time, now it's totally off. Same with the accent light, that makes these red accent lights. And then one more time for dim, one more time for off. Cargo light is the light in the storage area under here. It does not dim, it just turns on and off. You have your water pump, you have your DC electric, which, if you want to run the sound system and that screen, this DC electric has to be on. It's both here and here. So don't press buttons on that unless that is on, and that will turn on the sound system and the all of the controls of the van. And that sound is the sound system turning on. I'm gonna turn that off. You also have a front light bar right here, and you have a exterior light bar right here, which lights up the back. We also have this TV. The way you lower the TV is by pressing it in and lowering it down. There's a port for an HDMI cable on the back, as well as a like Amazon Fire Stick that you can plug into that. So you can connect that with the internet or your computer based with a HDMI cord. And then to put it back, you just lift it and store it like that. The remote for the TV is in this little pouch right here, as well as right here. Also for the TV, you have a Roku Fire Stick. You just plug this into the HDMI port back there, and then you can wirelessly connect to the TV. This is right here, and you can put anything else in here that you want as well. You have a full fridge right here, and this runs off of DC power, which means when you turn the power off, the fridge stays on. So don't worry about that. It uses a very small amount of power and won't drain the battery very fast. As long as you're not parked for, you know, somewhere that's not sunny and you're not driving for like a whole week, then this will still be working. All you do to open this is you click that, raise that. This left side is the frozen stuff and everything else is the fridge. You can adjust the settings on it, but it's really not worth it. It's a fridge. You just can keep that as it is and put whatever you want in here. I have some water right here. This is fresh filtered water, and the way that you get this is by pressing this button to turn it on and this button to turn it off. And then you can undo this strap if you ever need to fill this up. You can also drop these off at any Home Depot, and when you swap out an empty one, they'll give you a discount on a new one. I think it's like $6. So you can always fill this up with filtered water at any Home Depot, and this just comes on and off, super easy, and you get filtered water. I have a power strip right up here, and I'm gonna leave this power cord here, but you can obviously plug anything else into it that you want to charge all of your stuff. And you also have another power strip right here. If you ever are at an RV park or at a friend's house and you have a power source that you can plug the van into, this is the best way to maintain or to make sure that you have enough power for whatever you want. And the way you connect the power is through this plug. This plug may be tucked back in here just to avoid rain, but don't worry, you can just untuck it and plug an extension cord from here into your power source. That could be at an RV park or at a friend's house, and that will charge the van and make sure you have as much power as you want. There is an extension cord on the rack right back here. This guy, all you do is undo this cable or this tie down strap right here. This extension cord comes off, you plug that into your power source, and then you reel it all the way out, plug the other end right into there. If you're ever needing power from the generator and you're not parked at a campsite or a friend's house, I'll show you how to use the generator and how to charge that, how to charge the van off of the generator. So, oh, by the way, when these doors open and close, you can use this little ball bungee just to hold this door open, but I'm gonna close this for right now so you can see the generator. So, this extension cord and the air compressor are already plugged in, but you can obviously unplug that and plug anything else you want into there as well. But when this generator is running, you can also just plug things right into the extension cord right there instead of messing with this, because this will be close to the van and hard to access. The way you turn the generator on is you take this knob and go from off to start, and you take this black pull thing, you give it a good 1, 2, 3, and then turn that to run. And that's all there is to it. Now there's power being provided to this extension cord. Anything you plug into this will have power, including the van. So when this rack is swung back, all you do is undo this little ball bungee right here, and then you take this and you plug it right into that power cord that I just showed you, and that'll charge the van and give you as much gas, as much battery and power as you need, including being able to run the AC. To turn off the generator, all you do is you take this knob, turn it off. So when the rack is pushed back and the van doors are open, you have access to what's called the garage. This is all on a slide track right here, and of course all of this stuff is my stuff. This won't be in here when you rent it, but this is an example of maybe stuff that you would have on here. All of this can slide in and out by pulling this red button right there. You pull that out, and then this whole thing slides in and out. And that can slide all the way out, so you have easy access to your stuff. A few other things to go over. This knob right here raises and lowers the height of the bed. You may not ever need to adjust this, but if you do, counterclockwise lowers the bed like that, and clockwise raises the bed. I like to keep it at this height, and then I push that in, but of course you can adjust that however you want. Another thing to go over is the shower. So the water system is based on this 6-gallon tank. When this is empty, the water is out, but we do have a second 6-gallon tank that's already full for you. So if this is empty, the way you change this is just by undoing that clip, pulling this out, undoing this. And if you do have access to a hose, you can just stick a hose in here and fill it up. If you don't, then you just take this out, just like this. You fill this up wherever you want to fill it up. You put it back, stick that in there, put that back like that, take this guy, and then tighten that right back onto there, and then make sure that you buckle it down so it doesn't move while driving, and then you can easily fill your water with that. The way the shower works right here is, remember, you have to turn this switch on for any of the water to work. If it's blue, it's on. And then you have these two knobs. This is cold water and this is hot water. The hot water tank is this thing right here. It's always set to off, but if you want hot water, you take that and you turn it either to minimum or to here. Keep in mind that the power has to be on for this to work and that it uses a lot of power. So be very cautious about using that. I would really only use that hot water heater if you are actively driving somewhere, if the generator is on, or if you are plugged into shore power, ideally, because it uses a lot of power. But bottom is hot, top is cold. Once that hot water is turned on, and then this is all the way off, you turn that left, and then you press this to use the water. And then you can adjust it like that. You press this back. And then I have a little bit of a leak in this. I want to fix that. But if that is leaking, all you have to do is turn the water off again right there and then spray it. And then there's no more water in this system. If you are somewhere that's cold and it's in winter, if you leave water in the hose, that's actually what causes that. It freezes and busts out. So if it's winter and it's cold, always drain the water out of this by turning the water off at the source right there and then pushing that forward to drain the water out. Also, if you ever need to get on the roof, I have an extendable ladder right here. All you have to do is unclip that, pull it out, extend it, and you've got yourself a ladder. One of the nice things about this van is this giant rack on the back. I have my paramotor on here, which won't be here when you rent this, but this is a great example of how much you can keep on this rack system. If you need to open this up and get in the back doors, this is how you do it. You have this silver lever right here. You take your left hand, you raise that, you take your right hand, and you lift up this side of the platform, and then you just swing it out like that. You can swing it all the way to the side, and then you can take these doors, open this. If you push this all the way here, it locks in place. And this left door, you can push all the way to here and take this ball bungee and clamp that just like that. You can also press this in, and then the door swings all the way out to the side. Or you can lock it by pushing this, and now it won't go anywhere. And then of course, when you want to close the door, you have to undo the ball bungee. And then you grab this and the edge of this, rotate it all the way back, and you lift it up slightly here and make sure that this has gone through that. This is very important. This has to go through this, otherwise this can swing out while you're driving. So make sure that this silver knob has gone through that hole. And if this rack is hard to swing in and out, it happens because this hinge can get sand and corrosion in it. If that happens, in this bag, there is a can of lithium grease. All you need to do is open that up, spray it on the hinge, open it up, spray it again, and just move it back and forth to get the grease in there, and it should make it much easier for the hinge to open and close. And then one other thing is I have this air compressor. I use this for cleaning, honestly, mostly, because this little nozzle right here blasts a bunch of air and cleans things off. You can also use this to inflate your tires. I have a tire inflator adapter that you just pull this back, take this off. The tire inflator adapter goes in here. It is in the pocket that is on the back of this window. So if your tire goes flat or you need to inflate a bike tire, you can plug it into here. And the way to use this is first you turn on the generator, which I've already showed you how to do, and then you flip this switch to on. And that's all there is to it. This will get really loud, the PSI will go up, and then this will have air pressure.